Hello. It's another episode of the Outlaw of College Football with the Outlaw Posse in tow. As I can see already in the house, we have numerous badges up in here. Well, actually, not numerous. We just got Big Cojones Kelly up in here. There's Eric Taco Marino. He's in the house. Lori Brogdon, as always, is up in here. But, I wasn't really going to keep talking about this, but it seems like it just gets worse and worse, the whole Florida State thing, about how they were most deserving. They might not be the best. They were most deserving. They weren't deserving or the best. And I'm going to run down some reasons why. And it ain't just because they didn't have their quarterback and all of that, but not even their backup quarterback. There's many reasons why this would have been a nightmare for the committee to allow Florida State in there. And for people to keep saying it's about one team. Talking about Alabama. And yes, I'm an Alabama fan, but normally you can ask anybody on here. I'm usually pretty unbiased when it comes to my own team. But when they deserve to be taken up for, I'm going to take up for them. So the continued response from a lot of the people out there, just it's basic. To me, all it is basic hate. To just say it's one team that it's this playoff is all about, really? Because if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, two teams with one loss. Two teams with one loss got in, not just Alabama, right? I'm just saying. It's all about one team, though. You're right. It's about Florida State. It always has been about Florida State. I'm going to start calling them Florida Stank, just like I do Ohio Stank, okay? And it's about them. It's always been about Florida State. I mean, them and Clemson was half-hearted in the whole process, but they were basically down in the ACC, saying that they deserve more money. And they're the ones that signed the contract in 2036, people. Nobody made them sign that contract. Now all of a sudden they want out and they want to be shady about it. And now they want to talk shit on the SEC, the conference that they want to be a part of. So the Florida State people are really backing themselves into a corner. They're looking like a big old conglomerate pack of just spastic wet diapers, in my opinion. But I'm going to bring Jonathan up in here after I have my little tirade there.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on, brother? We're also going to talk about Oklahoma, possibly Alabama, Michigan, and the transfer portal as well. I was going to maybe ask Jonathan what he thought about Dylan Gabriel's possible destination. And, I don't know if he knows right offhand, but y'all might know who's going to be the backup for Jackson Arnold going on in the future. How's it going, brother? What you got for us today?
You really brought me on to rant today if we're going to sit here and talk about Florida State, because I've kind of held my tongue for the most part on, the whole Florida State argument. And I have an easier time dealing with if Texas and Georgia made it in, which I thought initially was going to be what happened. I thought Texas would end up in the number 3 spot, with Georgia sliding back from 1 to 4, or vice versa, where Georgia lands at 3 and Texas is at 4. But there's a lot of stuff to be said, as most people probably know that watch your show. If they've ever watched mine, I'm a statistical guy. I go by analytics.
The problem I have with Georgia getting in is because the defeat was so recent. If we had beat Georgia in the middle of the regular season or something, I might could understand it. But too recent.
I don't go by recency bias. I'm sorry. If that's the case, LSU and Alabama just in the BCS national championship game.
I'm talking about we just beat Georgia.
No, I got you. It's right removed, but I still feel like, it just happened a couple of years ago. Still,
it's like you couldn't put Alabama in over Texas. You can't put Georgia in over Alabama.
I would. Okay. I'm not saying I would. I'm saying I think it's a possibility, right? So
you would have had more outrage than what you got now if that had happened.
Maybe.
Then they would have been bitching about Texas getting in.
Well, in all honesty, I don't think I would have possibly. There's so many scenarios you can go with in this. I would have to look at everything as a whole to actually line everything up as far as who I would put in. For sure, if I just looked at the 4 best teams versus the 4 most deserving, which is the big mix-up between a lot of people, is not everything that's deserved is given to you, right? March Madness is a good example of this. The NFL is a good example of this. I mean, there's a lot of things that are deserving, but you just don't get, right? Okay, I hate Colin Cowherd. Oh, my God, bro. I can't stand the guy. But he made one great point, and I think you may like this, JPC, since you're right next to the university. If you get a 4.2 GPA in high school, you do all the academic accolades, right? You do everything perfect. The 4.2, I'm talking like every AP class possible. There's still a possibility that you're not going to get into that school. And someone that's not as good as you will get into that school. Why? Because maybe the hardships are a little bit different. You know what I mean? Maybe they came from poverty versus this guy was given into private school, whatever the case may be. So just because you're deserving of something does not mean you are going to get it. That's life in general, right? Like if I work really hard, I should get promoted because I'm deserving. That doesn't mean I'm going to.
That's the word they keep coming back to, deserving versus best. But to me, they're the same damn thing to me because Alabama is the best and they're more deserving. That's just my opinion. And I'm not just saying it because they're my team. I'm saying it because to me, it's pretty easy. I mean, you said you had a few things you wanted to share with us to try to shoot down the Seminoles, maybe keep us from burning down all the teepees in Tallahassee.
So I want to start off with just I don't want to compare. I don't want to make this a comparison of Florida against Texas, Florida against Alabama, Florida against whoever. I just want to point out the last two games. And I'm going to let the donation come in first because somebody's donated $10.
Daniel Looney with a $10 donation says, BS, Bama was my SEC team. FSU was whatever that cuss word is. I will not watch any playoff game. They think they will make money. I bet it'll be the lowest playoffs ever. 12 teams next year is the only bright spot.
That was the highest rated SEC game ever. And there was like two of the, I think the Big Ten had the biggest number too.
He thinks this will be the lowest playoff ever. I think you might be just grasping.
Yeah, Michigan and Alabama.
Michigan's got the biggest alumni fan base in America.
Yes.
Outside of Ohio State. And then Alabama is Alabama. Then Texas, huge fan base. Washington, great fan base as well. I mean, it's very varied. You got teams from 4 different conferences. There's not 2 SEC teams in there like in the past that y'all used to bitch about. It's very varied. You got 4 teams from 4 different geographical locations. It's going to be the best probably ever.
Yeah, believe it or not, that's another tipping point they were talking about. Danny Cannell was talking about that. They believe that this will be the highest rated playoffs viewership ever for the playoffs, including the BCS era as well. So
you brought up Danny Cannell real quick. Now I'll let you get to your point, but that's one of my things on here on my list. I made a little list like Chris Jericho of reasons why Florida State is not worthy. But here at number 8, Danny Cannell talking that smack. We all know he's Florida State alumni.
Yeah.
He's a big old hypocrite, man, because in 1993, his team got in over an undefeated West Virginia team with 1 loss and won the national championship. So it's happened before. This ain't just about Alabama. It's happened many times in the past. Many.
Okay. From the beginning, let's start with this. There's 5 conferences, right? They can produce 5 champions. How many spots are there in the playoffs?
4.
So we already start off with a flawed system. So we can't use the whole most deserving.
They should have had it at 6 the whole time.
I hate that.
Because you used to do, Wilson, it's you that used to push for 6.
Yes, I said 6.
That would have solved this a long time ago. You know, at first I wasn't with you on it, but now I'm starting to see it wouldn't be too many teams, but it would be the right amount of teams. It would cover all 5 conferences possible.
Exactly. So, I mean, and that was me saying, let's do the 5 conference champions plus the 1 bid in, right? The one 12-0 Liberty or whatever, or you know what I mean? Whatever they call that shit where they come strong at the end, right? So either way. All right, so I'm going to talk about the last 2 games because everything that is predicated to this argument is for the last 2 games. Florida State's making their case on the last 2 games, not the beginning, not the whole.
Let me push that real quick. He says, okay, people, hit the like button now. If you don't mind, hit the like button, smash the like button. It'll push the video out for the algorithm and it'll get more people up in here. We'll get this party crunk and we'll get some shit started. All right, brother, go.
Oh, it's about to get started.
That's right.
So two things are predicated: the last two games, and then the quarterback. Right. That's the whole argument between everybody is the Florida game, the Louisville game, which is the ACC championship game, and then the quarterback going out, and then supposedly the second string coming back. So that's what I predicated my argument based on what Florida State is making an argument on. So Florida was 5-7. Everybody's going to have struggle wins through the season. Florida State had their fair share against Boston College, blah, blah, blah. We can keep going on this list. Just like everybody has, it seemed like this season, right? So nobody stood out in that aspect to me. They won 24-15, but what my notes here say is that Tate Rodemaker, right, their quarterback for Florida State, went 12-25, 134 yards, no touchdowns. Keep this in mind. No touchdowns, no interceptions, and a QBR of 43.8. So Florida must have a pretty good defense, at least a decent defense to allow this. Considering Florida State, 31 carries, 90 yards, 2.9 average per carry, 3 TDs with a long of 36, right? So my predication is going to be Florida probably will concentrate a little bit more on the run game versus the pass, knowing it's the second string. But the second string quarterback couldn't throw worth a damn anyway, so it didn't matter. So what did the run game produce? That's what this is going to be predicated to if you look at statistics. Well, Florida's total defense is 68th in the country. The run defense is 76th. The pass defense is 68th. Now, my question to the fans out there would be, what do you think those results would be against a Michigan, an Alabama, a Texas? Very unfavorable, which is why Vegas has them as double-digit underdogs in all those games.
Even Georgia or even Oregon or even any team in the top 12.
Like, the only case you may make against getting in over a team based on your statistics is the only other undefeated team in there, Washington, who doesn't have as good of a defense as the others. All the other teams are predicated on their defense at this point, plain and simple. So that's their strength at this point. So we get the Florida game out of the way. Now we're going to roll into the Louisville game. I already didn't like the Louisville take already because Louisville, in my opinion, outside of the Notre Dame game, which Notre Dame did not look impressive all year to me, that was kind of like their staple win, right? Unless you want to consider Duke a staple win, which I'm not hating against Duke, but to consider that game a staple win is hard, right? So that's just my opinion. So they beat Louisville 16-6. Louisville was 10-3 for the season, so I'll never penalize people for winning the games they're supposed to win, which is what Louisville did, but they also lost in shitty fashion as well. So what does Florida State's third-string quarterback do against Louisville? Because once again, we're predicated on the quarterback here. Brock Glenn goes 8 of 21, 55 yards. Once again, the quarterback producing 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Not turning the ball over, but you're not contributing anything at all to this offense. None. Nada. Neither quarterback, if you go back and look, produces nothing. So you're telling me that a solely one-dimensional Florida State team will have an impact against Texas, Alabama, Michigan, Washington, any of these teams? No, they're not. The argument is not there. The rushing attack against Louisville, 44, a little bit of an improvement, 44 carries, 164 yards, 3.7 average, 1 TD with a long of 73. Louisville's defense, definitely a better defense in my opinion, but you're also seeing the difference of like the conference opponents as well on this side. So Louisville, total defense 16th, run defense 12th, pass defense 35th. Louisville's key wins, Notre Dame and Duke, like I already pointed out, their losses. Pitt was a freaking terrible loss. We cannot ignore that. Kentucky, terrible loss. Can't ignore that one right before they played them. And then Florida, obviously, 16-6, or Florida State, sorry. Florida State strength of record, very impressive. Third, they're undefeated. Of course, their strength of record is going to be in the top 5. That's given. Strength of schedule is what nobody wants to point out. They want to point out the strength of record. Strength of record is going to climb with each win. Strength of schedule does not do that. Strength of schedule is 55th. Yeah. Alabama's is 5th.
Yeah.
There's a difference in there.
I mean, it'd be different if it was a little closer. Like if they were 15th and we were 5th.
Yeah, not 55th.
But 55th and 5th, that's 54 spots, man. I mean, I'm curious to see Liberty's strength of schedule compared to Florida State's. If we're going to just throw out undefeated teams, you know. I got a few things on here myself.
Well, hang on. I'm not done yet. You think I'm done? I'm gonna drill these people. I'm telling you, I'm almost done. This is my last outlier. If all else fails, who do I rely on? I bet football all the time. So I'm relying on Vegas to steer me in the right direction. It doesn't always work, but for the most part, Vegas doesn't lose money. The casinos they look the way they do for a reason, and it's not because people are just giving them money. They're taking money, right? Well, Vegas has them pinned against all those teams as double-digit underdogs, including Georgia, including multiple teams, by the way, up to into the top 10, not the top 4. So
that's what I was saying earlier. Then they probably wouldn't win against the top 12.
There's a serious problem here, and everybody's supposed to close their eyes and ignore it and just think 12-0, 12-0, or 14-0, 14, whatever the hell the record may be, undefeated, which I get why Florida State fans are mad. As an Alabama fan, I'd be mad too. As whoever fan you are, I'm not saying you shouldn't be mad. I'd be throwing a damn fit too. But just because you throw a fit doesn't mean they're one of the best teams. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead. Sorry.
No. It's just I just don't get how they think they can just come with 13-0 because the ACC ended up not being that strong. At the beginning of the season, we thought, hey, they might be pretty strong because Duke started out pretty fast. Notre Dame started out pretty fast. They beat USC. They entered the USC Skittle Shitters little quest to do whatever they were trying to do this year. I guess go to the Independence Bowl or wherever the hell they're at. But, man, it's just I got some stuff here too. I mean, let me ask you this. If Florida State had played Georgia in the conference championship game, what do you think would have happened in that game?
They would have blown them out no matter what. It wouldn't be a game.
I mean, you think they would have been even close?
Georgia by 17
so Florida State at that point ain't getting in the playoff if they're playing in a different conference. I mean, and then they want to come back and blame the ACC. Now they're talking about they want out of the ACC and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, good point.
It ain't the ACC's fault that y'all signed. Like I said earlier, y'all the one that signed that contract 2036, man. It's not the ACC's fault that you didn't blow out Florida or Louisville. And when people try to go back to the whole Ohio State thing in 2014, like you've said numerous times, there's numerous reasons why you can't do that. Number one, all of them backup quarterbacks came in and done well, and they blowed out teams. And as you pointed out, their offense wasn't even predicated upon the quarterback.
Zeke Elliott.
Yes. So you can't use that either.
Dude, they beat Wisconsin 59-0.
Exactly. And
in the conference championship.
If Florida State had played a full slate of SEC games this year, and you're like, well, we beat LSU. Yeah, with the team that you had then. If Florida State has to play a full slate of SEC games other than just Florida and LSU, do you think they're undefeated at the end of the year?
No. It's too hard in the SEC.
Even with Jordan Travis, they will catch 2 losses, in my opinion.
Yeah, 1 to 2 losses, in my opinion, no doubt.
Maybe even 3. And, Florida State and the ACC voted down the 12-team playoff for this year. They could have went in and had that 12-team playoff this year, but no, man, they want to drag their feet about it and not have the playoff. If they had the 12-team playoff this year, then this would be a moot point right now.
No, well, there's always going to be somebody complaining, but I do agree with you. It would be nowhere near what it is right now. So, okay, I got a question to you real quick. If Jordan Travis is healthy, do you put Florida State in?
I don't know, man. I mean,
I put him in. If he's healthy, I put him in.
Yeah, I might put him in, but it's according to how they played with him in. I mean, if they played like they did against Louisville and Florida with him in.
Oh, that's different. That's still
maybe
different.
Not, but
they wouldn't have though.
But if he had played better, and he probably would have, they would have absolutely probably been. And what really hurt him was their second string quarterback got injured. Yes. People are saying, well, he'll probably be ready for the postseason. I'm like, yeah, but that's a might. That's not a 100% thing. I mean, we really don't know if that second string quarterback is going to make it back in time or not. Jeff Payton says, "Hey, Outlaw was talking to a mutual friend today, and we talked about this. Florida State played LSU in Florida and claims they played a quality schedule. Both LSU and Florida have at least 3 losses."
Okay. Sorry, I'm not trying to take over here.
Oh, no, you good.
Look, Florida State did everything perfect, right? In my opinion. They played their schedule. They didn't play cupcakes for their outer conference. They did schedule quality opponents. I'll give them that. And that's what sucks about football sometimes. But the committee set that up knowing this could possibly happen anyways for multiple reasons. One of them, like I said at the very beginning, 5 conferences, 4 spots. You're already at a disadvantage from the very beginning. But somebody's going to have to lose out. And there's too many things to look at here and say that Florida State should have just got it. And like you pointed out to me multiple times that I failed to realize, why are we always talking about Alabama? Why not Texas? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't understand that. What's the argument against Texas in Florida State?
It's about one team, but it's really not. It is about one team, but it's about them.
It's about Florida State.
Because they're all about themselves. That's obvious in how they tried to basically just deep six the ACC. Every opportunity they get, they're trying to screw the ACC. They even tried to drag their feet on letting SMU and Stanford and California in just to be throwing a fit. And now they're talking this shit about the SEC. I mean, this is the conference you want to join, right? And you're going to talk shit on us? Really?
And this is the problem you're going to have. Where's the comment at? So, oh my gosh.
Jack Acker says, "I think even if Jordan Travis was healthy at FSU, they'd still get curb stomped by Georgia and Bama, but have an okay chance against Washington and Michigan." I agree with that.
Hang on, what was it? See, even if Jordan Travis was healthy, FSU would still get curb. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't argue that point, but I would say that I wouldn't have a problem whatsoever. I wouldn't be in any type of way if Florida State got in with a healthy quarterback, with what they've done all year.
If he had been healthy, I mean, if you want my honest of what I think would have happened, they would have let him in.
Yeah.
But would I vote for them to be in? No, I wouldn't. And it ain't because I'm an Alabama fan. I'm just not impressed with Florida State.
And Big Cojones Kelly, this is my point. Again, LSU may beat Florida State right now, and that is the point. Because if you go and look at the committee's lineup of how they make their decisions, it is based off of a series of decisions and like maneuvers that is made right now. And I know that's easy to say they may beat them, and I agree. That's a big reason why Florida State's not in right now, because a lot of people would probably actually agree with that.
Here's the vague comment of the day. I'll let you look at that, see what you think about that.
Florida State should be in the playoff because they're an undefeated team. Okay, what if all Power 5 champions were undefeated?
That's a good question. What if that had happened? What if all Power 5? What if they were all undefeated?
Then what? Is it because they're all deserving, so they all must get in, right? No, that you can't. That's again, just because you deserve something doesn't mean you're going to get it.
Exactly. Very good point. Then I have just on the way their fans act alone, man. It's sort of, to me, it I ain't gonna lie, it makes me happy a little bit because you know how I like to grill people anyway. I mean, they're probably burning their teepees down there. You think?
Yeah, I would understand. I would be the same way.
Sheer fact alone that they allowed rapist Winston to continue playing.
Oh, God.
After rapist Winston continually done stuff to make himself look like a complete ass, jumping up on the cafeteria table and saying, "Grab her by the pee."
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And they're going to come in here and preach to people about moral ethics and all this bullshit when that shit happened with them. And then further back, as I said, in 1993, they screwed West Virginia out of national title.
I like that. I deserve $1 million on a yacht. I deserve a promotion, but I didn't get it. So
T Boomer has his badge. I keep getting this thing popping up on my screen, man, from McAfee. Now I can't see your face.
You can't see my face? It's a good thing. You should probably go blind from the beauty.
I can't figure out what the hell it is, man. Why is it doing that shit? But ACC was What?
ACC was let's see, ACC was one of the conferences that didn't want to, is what I'm assuming he's pointing out.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I don't know. I can't speak on that. I don't know that, but I do know that it was Bobby Bowden, right, that spoke out and said he didn't want Florida State to go to the SEC because of how much harder it would be to get to the championship.
He's talking about they signed off against the 12.
No, I know that. But what I'm getting at is also Florida State was also the team's coach that spoke out against going to the SEC because they were too tough of a conference.
What does that say? I couldn't find that.
Bring it back up. Once Time takes over for Nick Saban, they will probably be undefeated again. That Killer Breeze coming in, trying to stir things up.
We might win 4 games if that happens, maybe 5. Time could probably win 5 games or 6 games at Alabama.
He's Stokes. Oh, my bad.
He's Stokes in the house. He has his badge and a big $20 donation in the house. Outlaw, how's everything? What's up, Jonathan?
Another day.
Another day in the neighborhood. Yeah, exactly. And I've never made the argument that Texas should not be in my gun sweetness. Then you go by strength of schedule, all undefeated. Texas beat Bama.
There's a series. I'm sure there's like something they go by, right? A checklist.
Now that's
record, strength of schedule.
That he just brought up. I mean, let's say at the end of the year that Texas had beat Alabama and they had one loss to Oklahoma, and it was down to an undefeated Alabama or Texas.
If it was down to a one-loss Texas, one-loss Alabama, I'm putting in one-loss Texas. They beat Alabama already head-to-head in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm putting them in. That's why I don't have a problem saying Texas should be ahead of Alabama.
Exactly.
Even if I have no problem quorums with that whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I'm just saying that Florida State should be mad at Texas too, because Texas took one of those spots too.
And Alan Woody, see, I can respect the comment. Florida State was deserving, just my opinion. 13-0. I'm old school. So I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their own opinion. I'm not going to say your opinion's right or wrong. I'm going to try to basically justify why I say what I say.
If you go back throughout history of college football, there's been numerous instances, not just Alabama, where an undefeated team has gotten screwed out of a national championship. Hell, Alabama was one of them. 1966. We were undefeated. Notre Dame, Michigan State played to a tie. They were 1-2. And we not only did we not win the national championship, but we ended up third behind 2 teams that had 2 ties. So it's happened to everybody. This ain't just an Alabama thing. Now, I will say this. They probably did see the money dollar sign. Someone said earlier, which was asked backwards, that this might be the lowest rated playoff ever.
No.
It's going to actually probably be the highest rated ever because you have major brands in there.
Even Danny Cannell said it, like Michigan against Alabama is going to draw a massive
That's
viewership.
another thing. People that are hating on Alabama and hating on Michigan, who do they pick? Because, everybody's pissed off that Michigan got in because they're supposedly cheated to get there, stealing signs and whatnot. And then you have Alabama, that people just hate Alabama because we won so much. Then people may not admit that shit, but come on, if we weren't Alabama fans, we'd probably be tired of Alabama too, right?
No, oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. I was getting tired of Georgia after 2 straight years of winning it.
6 national championships under Nick Saban at Alabama?
That's
6.
quite a few.
And it's not really spread out over 25 years like it was with Bear Bryant. This shit's coming like a 16, 17-year period.
Back-to-backs. Like you have a little bit of everything. But I do agree with everybody, and it's the easiest thing to say. If this would have been the best year I have seen so far to bring in a 12-team playoff. There is no getting around that.
So if y'all heard anything, I know someone said earlier they're thinking that maybe Dylan Gabriel is going to Oregon.
Oh yeah, there's I think his.
I saw where there's been some big transfer portals already made the decision. Brock Vandergraff of Georgia is going to Kentucky.
And that's a big – Brock Vandergraff was a huge recruit.
Yeah, he was like a 4-star, then he got his 5-star late in the process.
So it looks like right now, according to multiple networks, Dylan Gabriel's landing spots. Where's that? Where'd it go? I'm seeing Ohio State, not USC. Jesus, where'd it go? Ohio State, USC, yeah, and Oregon. So USC, I believe the USC is just a plug. I don't believe in that one. I do believe that the Ohio State for sure and Oregon for sure.
So who's going to be Jackson Arnold's backup now, I wonder?
I'll be sure. Honestly, I don't know who. I'll have to look at that.
I think they got a guy by the name of General Booty.
Yeah.
They got this other guy coming in. He's a 5-star. Y'all help me out in the comment section and tell me who's going to be the backup for Jackson Arnold next year, because you could run into an issue again like you did with Dylan Gabriel. His first year here, when he got injured, they didn't have anybody behind him, and got what you got. You know, going 6 and 7. So I'm just wondering how the depth is behind Jackson Arnold.
The one consistent team that pops up on everybody's radar is Ohio State and Oregon. The other ones are kind of thrown out there, the USC, the Tennessee, UCLA, Notre Dame. All those are kind of thrown out there as like maybe low chance, but it looks like Ohio State and Oregon are the favorites right now.
Becca Has Thoughts says that Jackson Arnold's backup will be Mike Hawkins.
Mike Hawkins, yeah. I don't know much about him.
I remember hearing about him. I think he's a 4 or 5-star too. So, yeah. Becca Has Thoughts has her badge. She's deputized. You'll see a lot of people in here with their badges. Jeff Payton, Richard Young, Kilbreeze, numerous others, Heath Stokes. I think Jonathan's even got a badge.
Oh, yeah, I do.
T. Boomer. If you want to get your badge and get deputized and possibly be the comment of the day and possibly be one of the 4 Horsemen shout-outs, which are right here. 4 Horsemen shout-outs go to Sidney Long, Spencer Radler, Denizen, and Dale Sent are mounted up, ready to go. They're going to help us with the rest of this college football invasion day. And like I said, if you want to get your badge and get deputized, get your random 4 Horsemen shout-out as well as possibly the comment of the day. It's $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. It's a little join button next to the subscribe button. Just hit that and we'll deputize you.
I would say this: if Gabriel goes to Ohio State, it makes them instant playoff contenders. Well, I mean, I guess that's 12-team playoffs. Not a hard thing to say, I guess, but it would make them a big threat next year.
Got another $10 donation. I can't really see the whole thing because of this.
Michael Hawkins coming in, big-time recruit from Texas, should be okay in the QB room. Yeah, he's not nothing crazy. He's not a splash, but yeah.
That's Heath Stokes with a $10 donation.
You need to call McAfee and tell him to shove that straight up their ass.
There's any other big transfer portal players out there? What about Kyle McCord? Where's he going? Is he already chosen somewhere?
No, most of them haven't chosen anything because, I mean, they're waiting. The damn season's not over with yet. We got to wait for the bowl games at this point. But Cam Ward's a big one. There's so many big players out there.
Is Jaden Daniels setting out the LSU bowl game?
I haven't seen anything about that.
I've been hearing rumors that he might.
I don't think he is.
Brian,
I know.
Addressed it on CBS Sports. I saw a link to it, but I didn't read the article.
I do know this, though. I think you'll like this. A lot of people said that if Caleb Williams set out the bowl game and decided to come back next year, there was going to be a lot of hate from USC on him from basically setting out the bowl game and then deciding to come back.
You talking about Caleb Williams? I thought you were
yes.
talking about Jaden Daniels.
No, what about Caleb Williams?
He's going to set out the bowl game and possibly come back. Yeah, that's pretty. Man, that's pretty weak, man. That's a pudding right there.
Even USC fans now are saying if he does that, the hell with the guy.
That's not everybody's going to be like Bryce Young and the other guy, what was his name, the defensive player that they thought was going to sit out the bowl game for Alabama and Kansas State?
Oh, Will Anderson.
Yeah, Will Anderson. They thought Will Anderson and him were going to sit out, and they didn't. But not every – that's a very rare thing to happen. Most of these players are going to do that. Jaden Daniels, like I said, that they're saying he might sit out himself. And that might be Florida State's only saving grace, as I've told you many times. You're not buying it, but that might be their only saving grace against Georgia is if Georgia has a lot of people sit like Brock Bowers and others.
Yeah, so that guy's thought says Caleb Williams declaring for the draft. I honestly haven't seen anything on that. If that would have been on, I'm assuming it would be on ESPN by now if he was declaring.
I don't know. I'd heard he might have declared if he's sitting at the bowl game. Maybe he's just going to see how his stock is.
Well, I mean, he's going to be – look, in my opinion, if Caleb Williams declares for the draft, he's going to be, if not the top pick, he's going to be a top 3.
Somebody's
going
to be a Ryan Leaf.
But, I mean, hey, but that's what he's projected.
He's got that Vince Young mentality, man. He's going to be just like Vince Young, man. He's going to lose his damn noodle. As soon as someone says, boom, on the sidelines, he can be over there crying in his mama's lap, wetting his diaper.
Let's see here. Yeah, so
that is part, of course, for Mary Caleb Williams' fingernails. I want to get his nickname in real quick.
There's nothing saying he's declared for the draft. Everything says right now he's undecided. They said he's a non-lock for the NFL draft. So he's not a lock right now. He is not declared.
Big Combs really is an LSU guy, and he thinks Jaden Daniels should sit out.
I wouldn't blame him if he did.
It's
as long as he's declared.
I would want to finish what I started with my boys, but that's just me.
I mean, it's there's a lot of money on the line. And in my opinion, though, if you're going to do it, let's say let's say Caleb Williams. He's the easiest one to use.
I would say if it was a New Year's Six bowl or higher, that I would play because that's what Bryce Young did. It was a major bowl game. Now it's what is it? What are they going to? The Holiday Bowl? If it's one of those mid-tier bowls like the Holiday Bowl or the Independence Bowl, then I'm probably in agreement with setting them because it really isn't doing anything for them at that point.
Yeah. Man, the way it's hard for me because these guys, I mean, some of them are making millions of NIL money now, but it's a lot of money. But it's one game, so.
Senator Ross backs up our sentiments. Mary Caleb sitting out a bowl game and then coming back will be such a Mary Caleb Williams fan.
I think him sitting out is a good indication he's not coming back, even though he said he hasn't declared. Because there's a lot, like I said, a lot of USC insiders are saying that if he did that, it would be USC against him at that point.
Gilbert said he hears that RJ Young is next in line to be the voice of the Crimson Tide.
Oh man, look. Don't you have corn dogs to go put in the oven?
Yeah, man, don't burn them damn corn dogs. I'm telling you right now, burnt corn dogs, man, they're not very good.
Oh, man.
Even if you put that ugly-ass mustard color on it, like the LSU helmets.
Oh,
they
God.
say, we got gold helmets. Are y'all colorblind? That shit ain't gold, it's yellow.
Yeah. So...
Ja'Cory Brooks of Alabama is joining the portal. Could you get us a list of major portal players, Jeff?
Let me see here.
Got them handy or something? Give us maybe the top 5 or 10.
Let me see here. See if I can bring it up.
Yeah, I don't know why they keep changing names of these damn bowls, man. I think they ought to keep the bowl name they started with and then put the name on the field or something instead of changing the name of the bowl, man.
Oh, shit. Trey Moore from UTSA entered the portal, and he's one of the top players in the country.
Who's that?
He's the edge player for UTSA.
Who's that?
You know who it is.
Who's UTSA, man?
You know who the hell UTSA
Sounds like
is.
the LGBTQ.
You better put some respect on that name, is all I'm going to say.
Man, the only four-letter word I know is one you don't want to hear me say.
Anyways, Walter Nolan is the top one with no prediction. Cam Ward, the Washington State quarterback. Dante Moore, UCLA quarterback. He was a big one last year that Came out of high school.
Hey, Killer Breeze said, "Hush your mouth, donkey."
Yeah, I bet he did.
I need to send Killer Breeze an invite, I guess.
You ever send him an invite?
No, I didn't. I didn't know if he wanted to be on tonight or not. I sent him. I told him I was going to be on, but he didn't say anything about being on. I don't want to be over the top with that shit.
Oh, wow. They just made an update to Dylan Gabriel. They're projecting by 100% he's going to Oregon. It just came through.
Dylan Gabriel's going to Oregon.
It's not official, but they said I guess the crystal ball went from 25% to 100. About an hour ago.
There was talk of him going to USC. Now that would have been some shit. That'd been like I would have grilled the hell out of him. I'm like, what do y'all do? Take out Oklahoma's used up quarterbacks?
So yeah, it looks like Dylan Gabriel's gonna end up in Oregon. Okay. Give me 1 second.
Mighty Roadrunners. Jonathan's got to go to the bathroom. He's got IBS, so he'll be back in a minute. Shit. Hold on for a second. Just hold on for just a second. Y'all don't leave me. I got something I'm going to send off real quick. Y'all go ahead and rile it up in there if you can. If you can, rile it up in there for me. Y'all hit that like button and hit the subscribe button too if you haven't already. Once you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell as well, because if you don't hit the bell, it won't notify you when I'm up and on the air. And as I said before, you see people in here with their badges and whatnot. If you want to get your badge and get deputized to be an outlaw posse, it's now $2.99 a month. It's just 75 cents a week. It's just a half a bottle of water. And you shall be deputized, is what you shall be. Now I want to share screen. Here we go. Copied. Now I'm going to send it off. Paste. Send. All right. Sent. Yeah. He's got IBS, man. I can tell he's over there struggling. I haven't seen him doing this right here. He's edging around, man. I believe he's about to lose his bowels as bad as he's losing his bowels like his Florida State fans been doing. I mean, the fake Indians, of all people, going to call some people out with all the immoral shit with Rapist Winston and them trying to be shady as hell and renege on their contract with the ACC, and they want the SEC, and then they're going to talk shit on the SEC for getting the team in. Yeah. Old fake Indians. They got mad when I called them that. Some liberal spastic was saying that, I should have called them Native Americans. Okay. I'll call them fake Native Americans burning their teepees in Tallahassee right now. Absolutely. The Bowls Bowl. Yep. They could change the Orange Bowl to the Douche Nozzle Bowl or something like that, because both those teams have been whining and losing their shit and act like they're on the rag. Georgia not as much, but the Hedge Pissers have been bitching a little bit. Corn Dog Lewis probably eating a corn dog. Yeah, he probably burned his corn dogs. He's talking shit about Killer Breeze eating corn dogs. Ain't no telling with him, man. He might have had to go peel his tater now. I don't know. Y'all give him a break. I mean, because he seemed like he might have been a little backed up or something, man. Might not have been the IBS this time. Might just been, that he needed to have that special quality time with Five-Fingered Sally or something. I don't know. Yeah, he probably is eating corn dogs on the crap. You're right. Eric Basham's in the house. Zane Prater, 6A, state receiving awards recipient, and consider ridiculous. No star from Norman North wants to walk on Oklahoma. He's 6'1", 185 pounds, and plays like an animal. Great blocking. Okay. I don't know who that is, but I'll take your word for it, Eric. Yeah. I think the corn dog thing is getting the most votes here. But me personally, I've known Jonathan for a while, man, and he's sort of he said got sort of a Tourette syndrome thing going with his masturbation schedule. So, it's probably that time, man. I mean, I hate to be vulgar and stuff, but y'all want me to be bluntly honest, right? Well, there you go. Says the Godfather needs to be deputized. Anybody with the name Godfather deserves to be deputized. And it's only $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. Just a half a bottle of water, Godfather, for the outlaw. I actually got a half a bottle of Celsius here. By the way, this is a great energy drink. It increases metabolism, and it has no sugar. It's going to be my sponsor one day, right? By the way, Killer, I sent you an invite. I don't know if you want to be on or not. I didn't want to be overbearing with it. I ask you all the time, so. IBS Bowl sponsored by X-Lax. What's that going to be? If you need your badge, like I said, there's a little join button next to the subscribe button, Godfather. Hit that join button. It's just $2.99 a week. You get a random Four Horseman shout out, like you'll see down here at the bottom of the screen here, as well as possibly be the comment on the day whenever I do a podcast or on here. I'm going to have a comment of the day next time I do this because I ain't been doing a lot of podcasting. Most people want me to do live streams now. So I tried to find that picture, Lori, and I can't find. Let me go find that picture. Lori wants me to put up a picture of Marshmallow, HOF Marshmallow. Let me look it up for you real quick. I don't know. I don't see it, Lori. I don't see it. Don't see it. Looking for it, but I don't see it. I'll get one for you, though, Lori. I'll get one for you right here. There we go. All right. Just so y'all know, those of y'all that don't know who HOF Marshmallow is, I'm going to give you a good idea of what he looks like so you don't have to go through the pain and heartache of actually watching him, because it's like watching someone scratch a chalkboard or some shit. Okay. This right here is what a marshmallow looks like that does podcasts. If you are the marshmallowy type, normally your head and your grill looks like this, especially the grill part. The grill part is definitely HOF Marshmallow kind of shit. So that was a request by Lori, and she's a big time supporter of the program. She's been around for a while, so had to do that for her. Mike Wilkerson, appreciate that. Mike Wilkerson just give a Christmas gift. He gifted one outlaw of college football membership. So who did you give the gift to, Mike? By the way, Mike, we're going to have you back on the show too as well sometime. So Mike gifted one. Y'all can do that for Christmas. If you want to give someone in here a nice little Christmas gift, give them a $2.99 outlaw of college football membership. They can be in the outlaw posse. They can be mounted up, saddled up, and ready to go. Jack Acker says, so is Crybaby Williams going to the NFL? You'd think he'd declare for the draft by now. Well, he's going to drag it out, just like he did with Oklahoma and Wisconsin. He drugged that shit out because he was getting attention, and that's what he likes to do because him and his daddy are both attention whores. One attention whore raised another attention whore. And he went on this little trip to the Wisconsin Badgers and was acting like he might go there. And we all know Wisconsin ain't a passing team. So right out of the gate, you can see a real red flag. And then he ends up with the Skittle Shitters and Tebow, and he gets what he gets. So him dragging his feet on this is pretty much par for course, as someone said in here earlier. More than likely, he's probably painted his fingernails that says, I quit, because that's what he is. He's a quitter. I wouldn't want him on my team. I wouldn't want him on my favorite NFL team, would y'all? Especially him asking for partial ownership. Really? And then they're playing Louisville in the damn Holiday Bowl. They should have put Clemson out there for that game because then you could have had the Riley brothers playing each other. It'd be pretty funny if old Linky Boy's little brother, his little bastard brother, cost him his job or something. So who did you gift that to? Mike Wilkerson? Jeff Payton says, Big Cojones Kelly, wrong sponsor. The jerk-off bowl would be Jergens. It actually would be Slim Jim Beef Jerky. Getting new names for bowls in here. Maybe I'll give me a few names for nicknames for the for the Japanese American Football League. You know, me and Killabree's already come up with a few. Got the Nagasaki Egg Rolls, and what's the other team?
The Tokyo Tech Crab Puffs.
I think of some more. Maybe the Bangkok Cock Blockers or something. I don't know.
I'm sure we could come up with a few. I don't think that good. So did we lose? Did we lose Donkey?
Yeah, Donkey he's got, I don't know, man. I think he's got IBS, or I think it might have been that time of the month for him or something. I'm not sure. And by time of the month, I don't mean, sticking that douche up inside him, whatever he does, but, I think it's tater peeling time or something, because he's got Tourette's when it comes to doing certain things at certain times, and I think he's, back in the bathroom peeling one off.
I thought he was coming back.
I don't know, man. I guess he got to have foreplay with himself or something. I don't know. You got to think about that corn dog, man. He's probably got that shoving it somewhere. I don't know.
So
let's get an unbiased opinion here. You're an Oklahoma fan. What do you think about all this Florida State shit? It's about one team. It's about Alabama.
Let's if you're a Florida State fan, there is nothing that's going to convince you that you didn't get hosed. Nothing. Because it is kind of, up to this point, if you were an undefeated Power 5 team, you were in. I mean, that's just how it went. I mean, Cincinnati got in some years ago because they ended up undefeated,
Yeah, and TCU.
But here's the thing.
Last year, and they had one less loss in Alabama.
I that's what I was just about to say. But here's the thing. I don't think you can question at all that Alabama is a better team. And to be honest with you, I think it's ridiculous that Florida State's not sitting behind more teams than just Alabama, because you telling me this is where the committee that drives me nuts.
They're definitely Georgia, right?
Well, the committee says, hey, we're keeping Florida State out because the eye test tells us Florida State is not as good as Alabama. But you're telling me Florida State is better than Georgia?
Yeah. Well, here's another thing. A few weeks back, when Florida State barely squeaked by a 5-7 Florida team, they moved them up a spot. So I can definitely see why Florida State fans are confused. I can understand where they're coming from somewhat. Yeah. Because if they're not that good without Jordan Travis, then why did you move them up without Jordan Travis that week? They could have saved themselves a lot of headache if they had moved them down to like 5th that week.
I mean, I think Alabama's a better team, but I mean, I got to be honest with you, keeping them out just because of Jordan Travis, I think that's a different argument than saying Alabama's a better team, because there's more than one way to win than just with your quarterback and offense. I mean, defenses have won games before, and they, by all accounts, have a championship caliber defense. So, I don't like keeping them out just because Jordan Travis got injured. I just say keep them out because Alabama's a better team. And I think that this year's playoff is the best matchups they've ever had, top to bottom, because they didn't put in the most deserving teams this year. They put in the best teams. And I think you're going to have better games because of it.
They act like the word deserving and best are two different things, but to me, they're basically the same thing.
I don't think so. I mean, again, if you go by some of the same arguments being used for, I mean, Washington and Michigan, I mean, the Big Ten sucks outside of Ohio State and Michigan. They don't have shit.
Yeah,
so
the SEC's top heavy, but we've had 6 national champions in the BCS era since.
The Big Ten, though, man. I mean, the Big Ten outside of Ohio State and Michigan is garbage. Wisconsin every once in a while has a decent team. It's garbage. Indiana and fucking Northwestern, and I mean, those teams they're crap. So, you can make arguments, the same arguments that you're using to keep some of those other teams. I mean, why don't they apply to Florida State? Just because they lost Jordan Travis? I mean, again, they're more than just their offense. Defense does win games, but I still think Alabama's the better team. I mean, that doesn't change.
Off the topic a little bit, I was going to get you to read out this comment by Mary, see what you think.
I read an article today that Caleb's dad and Riley got into a heated argument over Caleb sitting out the bowl game. Of course, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's still funny. Listen, I actually heard Dan Orlovsky on the Dan Patrick Show give reasons why NFL teams might have some concerns about Caleb Williams. And for people like you and I that have been critical of the guy when everybody else was getting down on their knees, I'm not surprised, because I think he's shown signs that he's kind of a basket case mentally, I mean, a little bit of pressure hits him and he just melts down like that. I mean, come on. I think it's, I think he's I don't think it's a guarantee that he's going to be the great quarterback everybody predicted that he would be.
I don't think he is, man. I think he's going to be like Vince Young, man. Like I told Jonathan, I think he's going to lose his damn noodle. As soon as something goes the wrong way, man, he's going to be pissing himself and crying on his mama's lap and shit.
Yeah.
Chris Lockman
he's already done that.
Chris Lockman wants to know how you can get a free membership. Well, that's easy. You just hit the subscribe button. If you're not subscribed to this channel already, all you got to do is hit the subscribe button. That's free. And then there's a little bell next to it. You hit the bell and it notifies you when I'm up and on the air. But if you're already subscribed to the channel, you already have the free membership. Now, if you want to get a badge and get deputized like these other people, it's $2.99, not 75 cents a week. And you'll get a random Four Horsemen shout out, as well as possibly be the comment of the day, Chris. But go ahead, Killer.
No, I just think that Caleb, I can't wait to see. Let's talk a little bit about Danton Lynn that got hired at USC. Is they're going to be the savior of their defense. First of all, let's stop pretending like Danton Lynn was who they were trying to get. We all know who they were trying to get, and apparently, what kept it from happening is most people seem to be saying that Leonard wanted control of his staff and wanted to hire his assistant coaches, and Riley wouldn't give that up.
It was a half-ass hire to me, man. I ain't saying that because I don't like him. It's just like it was so random. Nobody even was talking about the UCLA defensive coordinator.
Well, it's a pathetic hire in certain regards, because I mean, if you're USC, especially, man, if they would have gotten Dylan Gabriel, it's just like you're so much better than us by the way y'all talk and make it clear that you think where you think USC sits versus Oklahoma or really the rest of the college football world. And yet they have no ability to develop from within or spot up and coming talent. They're the rich kid that just looks at what all their friends have and buys it off. You know, who's got the best offense? Oh, Oklahoma's got the best offense. Let's go take that coach. Let's go. We got a shit quarterback. Let's go take their quarterback. We want, we don't have a running back. Let's go take Oregon's running back. The best wide receivers is over at Pitt. Let's go grab Jordan Addison. We'll take him. It's just like, and now they're doing the same thing with this guy with, the little brothers kicking their ass this year on the football field. And so what do? They go poach. It's pathetic, man.
Yeah, it'd be like Alabama taking Auburn's defense coordinator or some shit.
It's weak, dude. It's weak. It's just like, man, at a certain point, they just have no. I don't know, man. Like Oklahoma doesn't do that. Oklahoma is, they hire up and coming. That's what they hire. They trust in their ability to spot talent. So
Jack Acker has his badge. He's got a little comment that you might like. In FSU's defense, the college football committee is dumb and inconsistent. You put Texas in the playoffs, but the only team to beat them, Oklahoma, doesn't even get a New Year's Six bowl. That's a good point. That's a good point. If they're the only team that beat Texas, they should have probably at least got the Cotton Bowl against Ohio State, right?
Well,
or maybe the Peach Bowl.
The resume
more along lines the Peach Bowl, right?
Yeah. I mean, what's Ole Miss doing in a New Year's Six game? Their resume is not. It doesn't look great to me. They don't have a better win.
They got two huge losses though, Georgia and Alabama, I guess.
I mean, that's one of the things that seemed pretty obvious this year was that they focused heavily on.
I would have put Oklahoma in over Penn State. Penn State to me looks like a weak
100%. Absolutely.
I think Oklahoma versus Ole Miss would have been a great matchup.
It could have been a repeat of Bob Stoops' first bowl game.
Yeah, I remember that. Y'all played them in Independence Bowl, right?
Yeah, that's right. And we lost. It was close too.
One trauma cowboy Vera says Oklahoma lost 2 games back to back.
Yeah,
they did. But
that's one of I think that's one of the things that is clear that this year the committee focused heavily on who your losses were, probably more than your wins.
Well, that's probably what did get Oklahoma. That Kansas and Oklahoma State, because Oklahoma State looked like shit against South Alabama and Central Florida, and Penn State lost to Ohio State and Michigan, and Ole Miss lost to Georgia and Alabama.
Yeah. So
that's probably she's probably right. That's probably what kept Oklahoma out of New Year's Six Bowl with the 2 losses to the 2 teams they lost to.
And it definitely doesn't feel. It feels like a snub. It definitely does.
It would have been even worse if they did have the 12-team playoff this year. They would have snubbed y'all because y'all ranked 12th, and they would have put Liberty in.
Yeah, they'd have put Liberty in.
They got to put in one G5 school.
The Sooner Nation would have been hot.
Liberty
would not have gone well.
Liberty would have got in over y'all. Then the debate would have been Oklahoma or Penn State, Oklahoma or Missouri, Oklahoma or Ole Miss.
Do you feel like the committee finally balled up and put in the best teams instead of the most deserving teams this year because they were just like, well, this is the last year. We're going to the 12-team playoff next year. It doesn't matter next year. You think that's why they finally did it? Because, I mean, they've never done this before.
Right. And they didn't really have anything to lose, but I think people bring up TCU all the time, but TCU did win 1 game. They did beat Michigan. So it's not like they just shit the bed in the very first game.
Yeah, but they didn't know that going in when they put them in. They had just
TCU,
lost.
Getting beat the way they did might have had a little something to do with it. They were afraid that they might.
Oh, absolutely. I think
get
it did.
A clunker national title game or a clunker first round with Florida State.
Well, yeah, the blowout national championship games are never fun. You know, they don't help anything. And when you are already questionable whether you should have even been in the playoff or not, and then you lose like that, it just reaffirms everybody who thought you shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Jack was wondering if there was a possibility of getting Oregon and Oklahoma in the same bowl.
I don't think so.
I'm sure that if the Fiesta Bowl wasn't forced to take Liberty, they would have took that. That would have been a great matchup, Oregon and Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. Would have been awesome.
I would have liked to have seen it.
But their hands were tied with Liberty. They had to take one. They had a choice between Liberty and SMU, and they took Liberty. I would have took SMU, I'll be honest with you. But me, SMU.
Well, and that's
team.
One of Oklahoma's wins, you know. So it was disappointing, but I also, man, I think the game against Arizona is going to be good. I like the matchup. It's going to take work to win that game, I think. And so,
yes, Arizona. Yeah, Arizona's probably the most improved team of this year.
Yeah,
and
I think
you can't come in and win immediately, but Jed Fish did.
Well, I've heard a lot of people say it's a lose-lose for Oklahoma because if you win, you were supposed to win, and if you lose, it's horrible. I disagree with part of that. I think if you win, it's a legit win and a great way to head into starting off next year.
It'll look really good next year because I'm telling you now, Arizona's probably going to be right up there vying for the Big 12 title next year when they join the Big 12.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now, it would not surprise me if Arizona was at least in a New Year's Six Bowl next year.
Yeah. Well, that'll be the thing, Can Jed Fish keep it up? I think he can. I don't know why he couldn't. That they look legit now. They've got. They have a highly ranked offense and a highly ranked defense. They're good on both sides of the ball.
I don't know why, but for some reason people just try to shit all over Missouri. And Missouri's a pretty good team.
I don't get that either. Missouri's pretty good this year, man.
I think they're just going off of how Missouri used to be. Missouri is usually not that great, but this year they've been pretty good. They should have beat Georgia. They had a turnover late that actually helped Georgia salt that game away. Missouri,
they got a great running game.
Georgia. We could have probably been talking about Missouri and Alabama in the SEC title game if that had happened.
Yeah, which surprised me that they were as good as they were this year. I thought Drinkwitz was, I don't know, he had never really impressed me, and this year he did. They were a lot better than I thought they were going to be. I really didn't think they were.
A lot of people question Missouri when they give him an extension. They went out and gave him an extension.
Yeah.
He really done
I was
that
one of them.
But at Appalachian State, he done pretty good. But Appalachian State was already built to win when he took that program over. So he hadn't really proven anything. And I'm just like you. I was just like, man, that's sort of questionable. But obviously they knew what they were doing by signing him up to a good deal because now he's probably going to be a candidate for big coaching jobs next year or something.
Yeah.
And there's a rumor going around.
They should be.
Justin Basham, Common Joe and Common Sal in the Know, was telling me about this day, and I looked into it, and there is a rumor circulating. I ain't doing this to troll, like I usually am. But there is a rumor going around, and a food of thought, because Nick Saban's daughter supposedly hinted around that if Saban wins the national title, he's going to retire. And I was thinking that would be the best thing for him, I think, because he would go out on top.
Yeah, that would be a good
talk that shit, but I'm just saying, why not go out on top? Why go out like Bobby Bowden and Eddie Robinson and Joe Paterno? They all went out tainting their legacies.
Well, that's why you gotta love the way Tom Osborne went out. I mean, he finally wins back-to-back national championships and calls it a career. That was pretty awesome. But yeah, I listen. If he would retire, man, that makes it real easy to bring content in.
Yeah, but I think there's a stopover before you get to Colorado. It's called Norman, Oklahoma. We're gonna stop.
No, but listen,
we're gonna get us some Brent Venables.
If Nick Saban retired, what do you think they would do? Would they come from within, or would they go outside?
I think they'd go outside, but they might. I don't know if they'd give Kevin Steele a shot or not because he was so bad at Baylor. What do you think?
What about Reese?
Reese, I don't know if he's been doing it long enough to impress him. I don't know. What do you think about the inside?
Well, I think Reese was a lot better than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I think he is a lot better than a lot of people thought he was going to be. Not just me and you, but everybody thought he wasn't going to be that great. But it's because he really didn't have the athletes at Notre Dame that he does at Alabama. You know?
I didn't think Steele was going to be this good either. To be honest with you, I mean, they look like they look like an old school Alabama defense. Man, they hit hard.
There's a lot of names out there they could go after, head coaches and whatnot. You know, everybody wants to talk about Lane Kiffin maybe, and it's just Lane Kiffin rubbed a lot of people the wrong way when he was here. He was given the nickname Joey Freshwater because he had an alias. He used to go on campus and frolic with the co-eds and shit. Yeah, he's a ladies' man, and a lot of the alumni out here don't like that kind of shit. So he may not get a look because of his promiscuous ways. So I don't know if Lane Kiffin would be a serious candidate for us. I would hire him, but you know, I'm not in control of that. So
what would the Alabama boosters put up with Lane's shenanigans? I mean, he's kind of tempered a lot of that down.
He has pulled it in a little bit, but he still likes to troll it. I can't wait to see him and what's his name, James Franklin, go at it because they're keen trash talkers for real. Now James Franklin's
good at it
too. James Franklin will be trying to press buttons too.
Lane's good at it. William thinks, I don't want to say his last name wrong, but he thinks Dabo's coming back to Bama.
Who?
He thinks Dabo's coming back to Bama.
William. Where do you see William at?
William McElwee? Look right above Lori Brogdon's comment.
My comments were stuck. Yeah. Okay. Well, no, that's Lori.
Oh, it's the comment. There you go.
William McElwee says that they're going to grab Dabo. I don't know. Dabo's sort of cornered himself a little bit, making some pretty asinine statements about the transfer portal and NIL. And we all know that Alabama, you know, they've been paying players for quite some time. I'm an Alabama fan, but we all know that they all pay players. They've been doing it since the 1930s. All of them. All the big name schools do that shit. Ohio State, yes, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Texas. Texas A&M is just blatant about it, and they get put on probation all the damn time. They're lucky that shit's not against the rules anymore because they'd be on probation right now.
So, man, you know, I'll tell you this. One of the things that I can't stand, you know, I never had any doubt that they were going to put Texas in because let me tell you something. The media, the national media, loves nothing more than to have Texas be good and be relevant. They love putting Texas in.
Well, a lot of people say Texas is not back until they win a national title, but I don't agree with that. I think they're back. I think they're back now. I think even if they lose.
No, it's never about Texas is back when you see them able to do it consistently for a couple of years.
What really sucks for Texas is though if they win the national title, they still didn't win the Red River title.
But here's the thing, man. You don't understand.
We beat the national champions. We beat them.
You don't understand the arrogance that those guys have. When I first moved to Austin, I lived in Austin for 13 years. And when I first moved there, I was out at a bar and I was chatting with some folks. It was probably about 5 or 6 guys that were talking college football. They had someone from Ole Miss, couple of SEC fans, and then of course some Big 12 guys. And we were talking about paying players. At the time, LSU was being investigated for something. I can't remember what it was. This was like 15 years ago. And I made the comment that you just said. I said, well, everybody does that, man. Let's be honest. And he was like, oh no, Texas doesn't do that.
Shit.
And I said, what? He said, Texas doesn't do that. And I said,
Texas just do not get caught.
Well, no. But he really believed. He told me, he's like, they don't have to do that. We're the University of Texas, man. Those kids are dying to come to Austin. We don't have to pay anybody. That's what they think.
Lloyd Brogdon says we can't have Brent Venables or Bob Stoops. Look, y'all can't have both of them now.
She's right about that.
I went over this with y'all before. Y'all got.
She's right about that. You can have Mark.
Y'all can either have Brent Venables or Bob Stoops. You can't have both.
You can have Mark. How about we make a deal on Mark? We'll give you Mark.
We're gonna take big game Bob.
No, that's not gonna work. I'm sorry. That is a definite negative Ghost Rider.
Jack Ecker says, and Jack Ecker has his badge. I think if Kyle Whittingham was younger, he'd be a perfect Saban successor. He develops the hell out of 2 and 3 stars. Imagine if he's at Bama 4 and 5 stars. I agree. I just
Outlaw loves him some Whittingham.
Yeah, I like Whittingham, but I just don't know if he's going. I think he's going to retire after next year.
Yeah, that's what everybody says at least. I mean,
maybe he's going to retire and come out of retirement for Alabama. I don't know. Sort of like Bob Stoops.
Man, I just can't have any Bob Stoops.
Hey man, that'd be a great game. Bob Stoops podcast. What? Bob Stoops versus Brent Venables. That'd be a great game. Bob Stoops versus Brent Venables in the game. That'd be great.
No. We don't really want to see that. That's not going to happen. Now, and by the way, it wouldn't make much sense anyway, because you wouldn't want to do anything to disrespect Deion's welcoming into Tuscaloosa. It should be great fanfare.
Look, see, me and Kilbreeze aren't the only one calling a certain individual marshmallow.
Let me speak to that real quick too, just to set the record straight, in case there's any question about how this came about or why it came about.
Certain people feel like we're just disrespecting him just to disrespect him.
Well, that's my point.
There's reason behind it.
Yeah, this didn't start off with me just picking on the guy. The guy, I disagreed with one of his comments. He had recently just had an argument with Jesse, and he knew that I was one of the supporters of Jesse's show, and he immediately started going off on me, telling me I was a hater, name calling with me as well, with me first. And so the nickname came about because of that, So I don't want anyone to think I'm just picking on the guy, but quite frankly, he started it, and I'm just playing along.
Yep, he's an old softy. Well, I guess Jonathan got the tater peeled or wiped his ass or whatever. He's back.
There we go. There he is.
Did you hear me telling him why you had to leave?
No, I had an unexpected guest, so I got off.
I told him that you had IBS.
No, but I think I do sometimes.
All right. Well, and I told him if it wasn't IBS, you're sort of Tourette syndrome about certain things, certain times. And I said it might have been his time to peel that tater. He might be in the bathroom having foreplay with himself with a corn dog.
Surprised you didn't hear it. My door was someone knocking at my door, I guess, for a minute. So
no, we didn't hear it, man. I think you lying.
No, you can go back and listen to it.
I bet that shit's like a paintball coming out of your ass in the bathroom. Like one of
Jesus.
them paint, like one of
Why
them
are we
paintball-
talking about
you
this?
got one of them paintball guns coming out your ass.
No, I'm not your age, man. I'm not 72
You're not
years
your
old.
age to have IBS.
For real though, I think I'm lactose intolerant though. I'm not gonna lie. Oh man,
Jonathan, how old are you?
me, I'm 38.
Are
But
you?
in
Okay.
but in real years, like how old is my body after being in the military? Probably about 65.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's aged quite a bit.
I can see that.
Yeah. So
I would kill to be 38 again.
yeah, it's like I was good until I hit like 35, and for some reason I was like, oh yeah, I'm young. It's like my body's like, now it's time to slow down.
It goes down pretty quick. And I think Lori is correct. Stoops will never take another. Stoops doesn't want to have anything to do with recruiting.
Well, he's going to have something to do with Alabama real soon.
Oh God.
Now, seriously,
Yeah.
I'm not trolling when I say this, Jonathan. I have been hearing, seriously. I ain't doing this to aggravate. I'm serious. Listen to me. I'm telling you that
Just stop.
Nick Saban's
Just stop.
Nick Saban's daughter had sort of floated something out there that Nick Saban may be thinking about retiring after this season.
You know who's gonna be the next coach at Alabama?
Deion Sanders.
It's gonna be Jeff Traylor from UTSA. That's who it's gonna be. I mean, where else could you possibly get
No
a better
way. No
coach?
way they go with a name that small. No way.
You know how much that man makes out here? You'll be surprised. How much do you think Jeff Traylor makes? If you had to put a number on it,
I'd say about $5 million a year.
That's a lot.
I'd say I was to say 2.5.
He just signed a $47 million extension.
At
For,
UTSA?
I think yes, he has the biggest contract in the conference.
San Antonio's a pretty big town. They're trying to get home.
How many years?
Let me look it up. I think it's 5 years.
UTSA might end up moving into the Big 12 eventually. I'm here.
See here,
I was
Jeff.
surprised they didn't send him an invite.
His contract.
If Nick Saban does retire this year, I mean, who would you think Alabama would go after, Jonathan?
Probably need a big name like Urban.
He makes $2.8 million a year.
Y'all finna
See, I wasn't too far away. 2.5.
Y'all gonna
now he's going up to 9 a year.
Y'all gonna set off my IBS.
No. So what it is it's not going to 9 a year. What it is it's 2.8 base, and then he could cap at 7. Jesus Christ. He could cap at 7, and it's a $76 million total contract. If they buy him out, it's going to cost them $7 million a year.
That's where we all went wrong, boys. We should have got into coaching.
You're right.
Who would have thought $76 million contracts at UTSA?
That's right.
That's
no
nuts.
offense,
coordinators.
But I mean, what the?
Yeah.
The coordinators at a lot of these major programs make head coach money. So I mean, you just be a coordinator and not have to do shit. You don't have to ever be a head coach. Jack Acker has a $5 donation. Stoops can be an advisor and a mentor to Dan Lanning. He'd still have the letters OU just in reverse order. He'd be OU.
Well,
he used to be
think about this.
OU. That'd be a good coach and candidate for Alabama. What about Dan Lanning?
Oh, yeah.
To Alabama. What do you think about that, Jack Acker? He's an Oregon fan. He's probably going to get mad at me. We can't have Bob Stoops. We can't have Bob Stoops. We'll go out there and take Dan Lanning away from Oregon.
I feel like Lanning is what Dabo Swinney is to Clemson.
Yep, I agree. I don't think he's going anywhere.
No,
I think Lanning's going to be in Oregon for a while.
Long time.
I think you're wrong.
No one cares what you think,
Yeah,
first of all. That's why you have us in here.
That's why you come back in here and kiss on my ass a little bit.
You need us in here.
I think Dan Lanning is putting down roots in Oregon. I don't think he's going anywhere.
That's what we're gonna do. Them roots, we're just gonna pull them up. It's like that right there, just like we did that damn tree down in Auburn.
Oh Lord. Oh my God.
What was the name of that old crazy bastard?
Harvey Updike.
Harvey Updike.
That's Harvey Updike. I said, "Hey man, you think that's illegal to do that?" He said, "You think I care? Roll down tide."
Yeah, you think I give a shit? Roll damn tide. I was like, oh God, that dude's going to prison.
Of course, Paul Feinbaum sold his ass out. Little pencil neck
He
ass.
called in on national television.
Yeah, and then they give him his phone number. Here you go. Here it is. Here's his phone number. Take him.
Dude, of course, they would have subpoenaed it. It
Big
wouldn't have
Kahoney
mattered.
Kelly says Urban Meyer to Alabama.
Urban Meyer ain't worth a shit.
I could see that.
Urban Meyer would never go to Alabama. Never.
And I could see him going to LSU because, Big Kahoney Kelly's an LSU fan. I mean, they did hire Ed Orgeron and Brian Kelly, who have no morals. So Urban Meyer would definitely fit in at LSU.
You know who I saw was in the transfer portal that I think they can go to Oklahoma and it would be a perfect fit? And I'm not joking around here. Rocket Sanders, the running back from Arkansas. Dude, he's a highly graded running back.
We could take a running back. We could take a running back.
92.9. He's almost
really?
a 5-star. Yes, he's almost a 5-star.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
I didn't know he was
that'd be
leaving.
awesome.
Why would he leave?
I don't know, man. I think this. That's what I was about to say a minute ago, man. Think about this for the first time, probably ever. You got kids that are staying in college because they can make more money in college than if they go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel is staying in college because he's going to make somewhere around $2 million this next year, and he wouldn't be making any close to that.
Yeah, because he's not
considering where he'll probably be drafted.
Like Caleb Williams, he'd probably come out, but someone like Dylan Gabriel, who's not going to be high in the draft anyway, would make more money by staying in college, right?
I can't imagine Caleb is actually gonna come back, man. That would be, but I think he's that dumb, I think he's that stupid.
The number one pick is $36 million guaranteed with a 5th-year option. So there's no, and I hate to say it, but Caleb Williams projected across every board as the number one pick.
I listen. I don't disagree with that, but I just don't. I think that you have good reason to be concerned about Caleb Williams' mental game.
Yeah, of course.
And he can be as good as he wants. Jamarcus Russell could throw the ball 80 yards from his knees, but he melts down real quick. So I don't know, man. I'm not sold on Caleb Williams. I've been. And I'm going to be the first one to admit that I enjoy watching him implode because of what he did to Oklahoma. But if I'm being honest and taking the bias out of it, I don't think anyone can look at his college career and say that it was successful considering what it looked like it could and would be.
Dude.
I mean, he never even sniffed the chance to even play for a national championship. Outside of him winning the Heisman his sophomore year, what did he do in college? Yeah. Never won a conference championship. Never won one. Never went to a playoff. I mean, his best win might still be the game against Texas his freshman year.
Roy says that Stoops wouldn't go to any other college for no amount of money. I don't know if I agree with that. Now, I give y'all hell all the time, but everybody's got a price. Just like the $1 Million Man used to say back in the WWF days. Everybody's got a price.
Yeah.
So Isaiah Hastings also entered the portal for Alabama.
We lost our special teams coach to Mississippi State. He's going to be their defensive coordinator. I think his name is Coleman Holzer.
Yeah.
Jeff Levy got him from us.
What you think old Levy's going to do at Mississippi State?
They'll score points.
I think he might need to score points. He might need to follow the Mike Leach philosophy. If he can win 7 or 8 games a year, he'll be there forever. That's all they want at Mississippi State. If you can win 7 or 8 games a year, that you're gold there.
I thought he was going to put together a Baylor 2.0 type coaching staff. I'm surprised, man. I figured Kendall would be coming over to be his offensive coordinator. I just thought he was going to load that thing down with an Art Browse-tree wish list of coaches, and doesn't look like that's what he's doing.
So let me ask y'all something. Since there's 2 controversies down in college football, Alabama getting in over an undefeated Florida State, or the Michigan cheating scandal, which one's worse? Which one do you think people hate the most at this point?
Oh, Alabama getting in. Are you serious?
I think Alabama's got the new hate, but there's still people out there that saying Michigan shouldn't be in.
It's Alabama. It's Alabama.
I think there's a lot of people that are just so consumed with their hate and jealousy of Alabama that they are conveniently in the corner of Florida State. I think if it was any other team, or maybe not any other team, but I think if you put up some other team, it wouldn't be nearly like this. I mean, I see a lot of folks all of a sudden cheering Florida State's case.
Yep.
And I don't know that would be happening if it wasn't Alabama that just took their place. I mean, people are just tired of seeing Alabama win, man. You know, same thing with Georgia.
You're an Oklahoma guy, Kilbreeze. Read this comment out. See what you think about it.
Levy is going to run it up the middle 3 times in a row and then punt. Well, I think here's the problem with Levy that for us this year. Levy was just so inconsistent with a lot of things. You know, from one week to the next, the identity seemed to change. You know, some weeks we were a pass first, some weeks we ran, some weeks it was just all over the place. You can't argue with the results. The results were great. They ended up having the 3rd best scoring offense in the country. So he's clearly an elite offensive coordinator, in my opinion. But it was frustrating a lot to watch the games that he called, and some of the things that he did at critical times in the game were questionable. You know, I mean, they just were. I mean, keep in mind, man, all you got to do is get a first down against Kansas, and you're playing in the Big 12 championship. Yep. You know, that's all you had to do. The defense intercepted the ball and gave it back to you with just over 2 minutes to go. Get a fucking first down, you know. And for some reason, we just couldn't move the ball. And then, you know, same thing the next week against Oklahoma State, where we just need to move and we can't move the ball when we need to. And then the following week we play West Virginia and just smoke them 59-20 or whatever the hell it was. But all of a sudden we can't. We're you know, getting first downs at 15, 20 yards a clip, and and the week before we couldn't get 1 first down against Kansas. It's not like we were going up against Alabama. It was fucking Kansas. So, you know, Jeff Levy was, I don't know what he's going to do at Mississippi State. I thought Levy was going to run the ball more than he did at times. I thought that was kind of going to be a hallmark because I remember those Baylor teams under Art Browse, they ran the ball, man. I mean, they ran the ball a lot.
You really can't see this guy in the picture here, sort of changing the gears on you. But can you guess who that is?
Will Smith.
You already know because I told you.
Well, I mean, you can see it. His ears.
I can see it now.
It's Will Smith. He's a Seminole.
I can see it now.
That's where Florida State people are melting down right now. They're melting down Will Smith style. If having Alabama, you'd be doing the same shit. It wouldn't happen in Alabama.
That's what I'm saying. If you're a Florida State fan, you are. I mean, dude, I know the
pain. You start taking up for him. You said you was going to grill the fuck out of him.
I did grill the fuck out of him. I did.
No, listen, they're crying loud, but that's I'm not surprised. I mean,
No, absolutely not.
they feel ripped off, and
They are ripped off. They should have had 6 teams the whole time, like Jonathan said.
But Jonathan brought that up earlier, and it was a good point. So what happens if all the teams were undefeated? Then somebody's still not getting in. I mean,
Exactly.
so that the problem is not that Florida State got screwed. The problem is the system allows teams to get screwed. I mean, that's the problem.
The
flawed from the beginning.
Biased towards Alabama. They ain't really biased towards Alabama. It's more of a bias towards the SEC because every time the SEC gets in there, 80 to 90% of the time they win the whole thing. So they deserve, and they're the best.
Well, hell.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody wants to talk about the Big Ten now that the USC and Washington and Oregon and all them are coming over. I still, until they start winning national championships at the rate that the SEC's been winning them the last 25 years, you can't say shit. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what it all comes down to. Who's winning the national championships? And again, for the last 25 years, it's been the SEC.
And that's why Oklahoma and Texas are coming over here because they see that.
Yeah, that 100%.
And that's why FSU's having a meltdown now. They're saying we want out of the ACC now. And I'm like,
well, it was already bad enough.
You can't just get out of a contract like that. It's going to take a lot of money to get out of that.
Well, it was already. Well, first of all, I do think the ACC is doomed. I think this was this really hurt their look. It was a bad look for them to not fight harder. They had four members of the ACC on the committee, and doesn't seem like anybody really fought for Florida State. So maybe they did, but it doesn't seem like they put up a big stink about it. The commissioner certainly didn't lobby for them all week long like Greg Sankey did for Alabama.
Well, yeah, I mean, because of what they've been doing to the ACC. They've been throwing the ACC under the bus. Paul Feinbaum pointed that out. I mean, there's a lot of administrators in their own conference that don't like them. So they didn't want them to get in because they feel like Florida State's not going to be around.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's I think it's going to be the beginning of the end for this conference, at least for them being any kind of a legitimate conference.
Yeah.
So yeah,
definitely looks like we're heading to 2 Power 5 or 2 power conferences in general, and maybe we can do like some wild ass 16-team playoff where 8 from each conference gets in. And
well, it's going to be interesting.
Now I'm just.
It's going to be interesting what the NCAA just proposed with that new subdivision. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens now moving forward. But I think you're right. I mean, one way or the other, they're moving towards an NFL model. And, does it give you the better games? Yeah, it does. They're better, but it also is going to take away from a lot of what makes college football unique and special and all of that shit, So I'm torn, man, But going back to what I was just going to say a minute ago, with Oklahoma going and Texas going to the SEC, even going back to the Big 8 days, it's not been an uncommon thing for me to hear as an Oklahoma fan is the people to challenge how good Oklahoma really is considering the conference that they came from. There were a few years when the Big 12 was good, when Nebraska was still good and you had A&M and Texas playing at a high level. They did have some good years, but they quickly kind of lost a lot of credibility as the SEC just continued to get more and more dominant. And what became more frustrating as an OU fan than hearing people talk about how weak the conference was just to see how undeniable it was that the whole iron sharpens iron thing. It's just like, not only does do the wins not count as much because of the conference that they're in? But by the time you get to the end of the year and you're playing in that bowl game, you haven't been tested enough like the teams that make it through the SEC gauntlet. By the time that the team that emerges from that, always seems to have an edge in whoever they're playing in the bowl game. And Oklahoma hasn't had that, in the Big 12 in a long time. So I don't think there's any OU fan that's delusional to think that we're going to win conference titles like we did in the Big 12. But when we do win, it'll be legit.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see. I'm stoked, honestly. I already can't wait for next season because number one, we're playing Oklahoma. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and this is a regular thing. Like, come on now.
That's the thing, man. Like, the games now are just going to be so good, dude. I mean,
Oklahoma's not going to be a regular on our schedule. I think they're just a game.
Yeah, but still, but to see in Oklahoma, to see in Texas, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm assuming there's more coming, right? So, in my opinion, I think you're going to just add more outside of Ohio State and Michigan. But I don't know, man.
Who do y'all think the SEC is going to? Do y'all think SEC is still looking at taking Florida State or is Florida State
for this incident?
I believe if the SEC is smart, don't worry about Florida State. Go and own Southern Florida and take Miami.
What about Clemson?
Look, I'm thinking geographically. I'm thinking of recruiting and pulling the money. So I'm thinking Miami, right, for the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. You're going to own everything south of Fort Lauderdale at that point. And then I would bring in a West Coast school.
Well, you need
Oregon State. Bring them in.
No, hell no.
Bring in Oregon State.
What you got to do instead of expanding throughout the country like the Big Ten's been doing is I think you got to corner off the South from the Big Ten. The Big Ten's been trying to get down here. They want North Carolina. They want Florida State. They want Miami. They want those three teams in the Big Ten. I know the Big Ten really wants North Carolina. We don't need to let
North Carolina in the SEC.
We don't need to let the Big Ten down here. I think we need to take about 4 teams in the ACC as far south as we can get them, like Miami, Clemson, and North Carolina.
There we go.
Maybe
Notre Dame.
even Virginia Tech. Yeah, we could go up there and get Notre Dame. Now, that would be a poking eye. That would really, really, really piss off the Big Ten. They've been coveting Notre Dame for quite some time. So I didn't think about that, Jack Acker. You're right. I forgot all about that. I actually brought that up a few times in the past. Notre Dame, they haven't really had a good relationship with the Big Ten for a long time because early on Notre Dame wanted to be in the Big Ten in the 1930s and later in the 60s.
When you were born.
Then later on, the Big Ten wanted Notre Dame with Penn State, and Notre Dame wouldn't come at that point. So now Notre Dame's sort of getting them back a little bit. Yeah, or NC State. NC State does have a good market. They got the Raleigh-Durham market. NC State would be a good ad. But we'd probably let the Big Ten have them. We'd probably rather have North Carolina because they got a bigger alumni base. Plus, it would add to the basketball a little bit. I know North Carolina's not that great last year, but they look like I think they're doing decent this year.
Oh, but you got to add that brand, man. Yeah, you got to take North Carolina. You got to take North Carolina. It'll make the SEC basketball, just that much better. And I agree with Miami. But Florida State, from what I was hearing and reading some things, that Florida State sees themselves more as a Big Ten school, which I thought that was kind of odd.
How the hell do they see that?
You said that?
It had something to do with their educational, their academics. Huh?
Talking about North Carolina?
No, Florida State.
Oh, yeah. They're trying to get that AAU status that everybody's got now. They let Notre Dame have it, and they're not even a research institution, man. They're gonna give that shit to the Nagasaki egg rolls next. We're gonna get the Nagasaki egg rolls in
You're so stupid with that stuff, too.
We're gonna get them in the Big Ten next. They're gonna expand overseas. They may even get Killer Breeze's team, the Tokyo Tech Crab Cakes.
Tokyo Tech.
No, the Tokyo Tech crab puffs, man. Puffs.
Crab puffs.
Looks like Kyle McCord is going to end up in Pittsburgh.
Thailand Bangkoks.
See, I would agree with most of what Big Cojones Kelly says here, but I think Virginia Tech. Never mind. I thought you were saying UVA because I could see UVA in the Big Ten. Virginia Tech
UVA does see themselves as a Big Ten school. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
More than likely they'll go get Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh's got a good research institution. That's the shit that puts a tent in their pants. So
ridiculous.
Clemson gonna see? I feel like Clemson is overhyped, man.
I think they are too.
Outside of this little short stint that Dabo's put them on.
I mean, are they a media market in Clemson, South Carolina?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, what do they really bring to the table?
You already got the big state school in Columbia.
So, like, yeah,
Clemson has not been until Dabo brought them back to a level that they were never at before. I mean, they won that one national championship in the early 80s, but they weren't a powerhouse year in and year out like they were for those few years when Dabo won a couple of national championships. What was it, 15 and 17 or something like that, or 15 and 18? I don't remember what years they were. But I think it'll be real interesting to see what Clemson does next year. Because if they have another mediocre year, I think that you can kind of rest assured that unless Dabo does some major changing, they're not going to. I don't think he is either. He's a
little stubborn.
Yeah, it's been a weakness that I don't think a lot of people thought he had. And he's proven to be pretty stubborn, man.
He's pretty,
and that comes off as arrogant, whether that's true or not.
Sort of hypocritical too.
Well, I know Jeff Payton from the Outlaw Posse. Jeff is a big Dabo fan, and I don't know him like Jeff does, so maybe he's not the way that it seems, but when you're so stubborn about that, the things that he's been stubborn about, that comes off as arrogant, and arrogant, never great. Doesn't help anything. It really doesn't,
Jack Eckers, what's ironic in a YouTube video, Dion was berating the old Colorado players for not making a bowl game, but yet here he is.
That was actually the very beginning of his speech. Do you remember it?
What's that?
That was actually towards the beginning of his speech.
What was?
Him talking about how making a bowl game should be the standard every year.
When did he make that speech?
When he made the initial introduce himself to the players.
When he took over.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought he was now.
No, he said that at the beginning. He's like, there's no excuse to not at least make a bowl game, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not everybody can make the Celebration Bowl. So.
William Brogdon said Clemson wasn't overhyped when they had – well, of course not. That's why we said when we're going through the Sweeney days.
Brent Venables raised his family in Clemson. They grew up mostly in Clemson. So when Dabo leaves, that's probably where Brent Venables will go. He'll probably go back to Clemson.
Oh, dude, you are just kicking a wasp nest. What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
You are stupid, bro.
I can't protect you from
them
this.
Oklahoma fans are always bringing up, Brent Venables, his kids were born in Oklahoma. Yeah, but they were raised in Clemson.
What are you doing, man?
I'm just saying they make that excuse like that's the reason why he would stay there because they were born in Oklahoma, but they weren't raised in Oklahoma. They were raised in Clemson.
If that
somehow
really did happen,
found a way to make it worse.
He's good at that. He's really good at that.
I like it.
Somehow you found a way to make it worse.
I like the heat. I like it.
Time to unsubscribe.
But the marshmallow don't like it. You know what happens to marshmallows when they get too close to fire, right? Get their ass burn up.
They burn up.
HOF.
They ooze out. They ooze out.
The only thing that made me really irritated towards Dabo was him talking about how he's not going to use the transfer portal. And I'm like, man, you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage from day
And
one.
NIL?
Stupid, man.
Big Honey's Kelly makes a good point, even though he's probably trolling. Dabo better dab into the portal. He better start being believing that shit.
I'm sure y'all have probably seen it too. The short that's on YouTube with Dabo talking about NIL.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, we actually do use NIL. This team is in the name, image, and likeness of God. It's just like, come on, man.
That's some Butch Jones shit.
I know he probably. I don't doubt that he's a believer and that's sincere from it, but that just comes off as righteous. It's just self-righteous. That's how that comes off to me.
Yeah, you're putting yourself above the game.
Yes.
By using
you don't need NIL because you got God. Okay.
Yeah, but he's using religion as that pedestal, and it's like, really? You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I'm fixing to have to get off of here, but if you want to continue this without me, Jonathan, you can. I'm fixing to have to get up out of here.
No, I got to get off. So I got to be up at freaking 3:30 in the morning for work. So,
all right.
Well, y'all be good, man. It was good seeing y'all.
You too.
Maybe we'll hook up again before the playoffs.
Yeah, man, for sure. We'll do another show when the transfer portal moves start to fall. We got some transfer portal to talk about.
That'll probably be next week.
Yeah, probably soon.
All right, well, I'll check y'all
out. Man. Take it easy.
That was Killer Breeze, the consummate Oklahoma booster. And that was the podcaster formerly known as College Football with Donkey Lewis. And he's probably glad to get off of here because, like I said, sometimes that IBS stuff, it's sort of like an earthquake. There's aftershocks. And Jonathan has an aftershock version of the IBS. So, all right, guys and gals, I'm out here as well. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. As always, KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.